It's not one thing, it was many things. But I did not like that he'd had meetings with Jeffrey Epstein. He was evil personified. I had nightmares about it afterwards.
A woman betrayed this publicly is not supposed to miss anything about the man who did it. Not after the meetings she begged him to stop taking. Not after the affair. And yet, at 62 years old, Melinda French Gates finally sat down and admitted there is still something about Bill that she misses. Something she will carry with her for the rest of her life. So how does a woman who lost almost everything to a man still ache for a piece of him? That is the question I want you to hold on to. Because the answer is not what you think. What she misses and what she will never, ever forgive live side by side in the same heart. And by the end of this, she says one thing about the day after she left him that I have not been able to stop thinking about. Stay with me for that. It changes how you see this entire marriage. To understand what she misses, you have to go back to a parking lot. Not a wedding, not a mansion. A parking lot outside Microsoft in 1987. She was 23, a sharp young product manager with 2 degrees from Duke and a reputation for getting things done. He was 31, already one of the most powerful men in technology, and he asked her out on a date 2 full weeks in advance, scheduled like a business meeting. And here is the part she still smiles about. She told him no. She told him if he wanted to take her out, he could be more spontaneous than that. So he called her that same evening and said, "Is tonight spontaneous enough for you?" That is the man she misses. Not the billionaire, not the philanthropist on magazine covers. The awkward, brilliant man who called back that night because he could not stop thinking about her. They dated for 6 years. They married in Hawaii on New Year's Day, 1994. And over the next decade, they built something almost nobody gets to build. 3 children, Jennifer, Rory, and Phoebe. And a foundation that would give away tens of billions of dollars to fight disease and poverty in every corner of the world. She was not the woman behind him. She was the vision beside him. He had the money, she had the heart, and for a long time, that partnership was real. I need to stop here for a moment, because what she has admitted about that time is more tender than anyone expected. When Melinda talks about the early years now, she does not pretend she hated all of it. She has said the thing she grieves is not the money and not the name. It is the dream itself, the version of the life she thought they were building together when she fell in love with him in that parking lot. She misses believing in it. She misses the 2 of them at a kitchen table deciding they were going to change the world and actually doing it. And I think if you have ever loved someone for decades, you understand something painful here. You do not just lose the person, you lose the future you had already imagined with them. You lose the couple you were going to become. That is a specific kind of grief, and it does not disappear because you were right to leave. But this is where the story turns. Because the same man who made that parking lot phone call is the man who spent years quietly taking apart everything she just described. And what he did not only end the marriage, it poisoned the memory of it. For years, from the outside, they were the couple that had it all. Behind the walls of a 66,000 square foot mansion, something was rotting, and Melinda felt it long before she could prove it. If you want the full timeline of exactly what Bill did, I made an entire video walking through it, and I will point you to it at the end. But today, I want to stay with her because this is the part that explains what she will never forgive. Now, this is where the story takes a turn. I genuinely was not ready for when I started researching her side of it. Melinda drew one line, one rule. After a dinner at a certain man's townhouse in Manhattan, a man she has called evil personified, a man who gave her literal nightmares, she looked at her husband and told him plainly, "Do not see him again. Do not associate with him." She could not have been clearer, and Bill kept going back, meeting after meeting, over years, to the same house she had told him never to return to. Think about what that did to her. It was not only the association, it was the message underneath it. The man who once called her back that same night, spontaneous, devoted, had decided that her one hard line simply did not apply to him. That is the moment the dream she misses started to die. Not in a courtroom, in the quiet realization that he did not respect the one thing she asked. And what I just told you about those meetings, as painful as it was, is not the thing that haunts her the most. That one came from inside their own company, from someone who worked just down the hall. And then came the affair, a relationship with a woman at the company that reached back roughly 20 years, to around the time their 3rd child was born. For 2 decades, she believed they were partners in everything. She found out the truth around the same time the rest of the world did. This is the part of the story the cameras never caught. And I think we all know, somewhere, someone who kept smiling in public while something inside them was coming apart. Because on the outside, nothing changed. Foundation events, board meetings, photographs where she stood beside him and looked, to everyone watching, exactly like the woman she had always been. Inside that mansion, she was falling apart in ways she has only recently found the words for. In her memoir and in her interviews, Melinda described panic attacks so severe she thought she was having a medical emergency. Her heart pounding, her breath gone. She has said there were days she spent lying face down on the carpet of one of the most expensive homes ever built, sobbing, wondering how she was going to get up and face the next morning. And she was grieving a death, not a person, the dream. The exact thing she misses now was already gone, and she was the only one in that house who could feel it dying. The same dream came to her over and over. In it, she was inside a beautiful house and the house was collapsing around her. The roof caving in, the walls crumbling, her own mind telling her what her heart was not yet ready to say out loud. She kept it together in public for over a year while the lawyers worked in private. Nobody knew. The world would not find out until May 3rd, 2021. 27 years of marriage ended in a single statement, and on that very day, $2.4 billion in stock moved to her in a single afternoon. The opening move in what became one of the most expensive divorces in history. I promised you there was one thing she said that I have not been able to shake. This is it. You would expect a woman who went through all of that to want him to suffer, to want him back so she could watch him beg. She wants neither. When Bill has spoken publicly about his regret, about losing her being the mistake that keeps him up at night, Melinda has not softened toward him for a second. What his regret means to her is simple. It is his to carry now, not hers. Because she made a choice most people never manage to make. She titled her memoir, The Next Day. Not my regrets, not my ruined years, the next day. She has said the most important part of her story was never the 27 years she spent married to him. It was the morning after she finally walked out the door, and every single morning since. That is the whole truth of this, and it is the hardest thing to understand from the outside. She can miss the dream without wanting the man. She can grieve the parking lot and the kitchen table and the young couple who were going to change the world, and still know, all the way down, that she was right to leave the person he became. And I think if you have ever loved someone who was not the person you thought they were, you understand exactly what she means. You are allowed to miss the good and refuse the whole. You are allowed to grieve what was real and still close the door on what it turned into. That is not weakness. That is the clearest kind of strength there is. And it took her 62 years to name it out loud. At 62, Melinda French Gates has her own foundation, her own name back, and by her own words, she is very, very happy. She finally has a life that answers to no one. And when you watch her now, laughing easily, speaking freely, the tension gone from around her eyes, you are looking at a woman who stopped waiting for an apology to give herself permission to be happy. She misses the dream. She will never miss the man who broke it. And she has stopped pretending those two things cannot be true at the same time. That, in the end, may be the most honest thing any woman in her position has ever said out loud. If what she found on the other side of that door is what stays with you, then you should hear the whole story of what came next for her. The new love she found at 61 and the life she is living now. I covered that in its own video, and I think after everything you just heard, it is the one you will want to watch. It is waiting for you right there.